He told the world he couldn't have children. Then he saw them. 2 boys. His eyes. His face. His blood. 4 years ago, he threw her out, pregnant, broken, believing she had betrayed him. Now she stands before him, not as the girl he destroyed, but as the mother of the sons he swore didn't exist. He built an empire on lies. She survived on truth. And when their worlds collide again, everything he ever believed about himself will shatter. Subscribe now, because when he discovers the truth about those twins, his entire empire will crumble, and you won't want to miss a single moment of his fall. The rain fell like judgment. Kwon Jae-hyun didn't notice it. He never noticed small things anymore. Rain, laughter, the way people looked at him when he walked into a room. He only noticed power, control. The weight of his father's empire pressing into his shoulders like a crown made of iron. He was 32 years old and he had never lost. Not a deal. Not a war. Not a single night of sleep over the choices he'd made. Until today. His car idled at a red light in a part of the city he didn't belong to. Streets too narrow. Buildings too old. People too poor to matter. He was only here because one of his men had been sloppy, and Jae-hyun didn't tolerate sloppiness. He would handle it himself. He always did. Then he saw them. 2 boys, maybe 4 years old, maybe 5, running through the rain laughing like the world wasn't cruel, like it didn't devour people whole. Jae-hyun's hand froze on the door handle. Dark hair, sharp cheekbones, eyes that tilted just slightly upward at the corners, his eyes, his face. No, impossible. The doctor had been clear. Irreversible damage. A childhood illness. Sterility. The word had felt like a death sentence, but Jae-hyun had learned to live with it. He didn't need sons. He didn't need legacy. He had power. But these boys, one of them tripped. The other stopped, pulled him up, wiped rain from his brother's face. Gentle, protective. Jae-hyun's chest tightened. He didn't know that feeling. He'd buried it years ago, the day he learned what it meant to be his father's heir. Weakness was death. Softness was surrender. But watching those boys, the light turned green. His driver didn't move. Sir? Jae-hyun's jaw clenched. Who are they? Sir, I don't... Find out. He watched the boys disappear around a corner, their laughter swallowed by the rain. His pulse hammered against his ribs. His hands were shaking. Kwon Jae-hyun did not shake, but something inside him, something he thought he'd killed a long time ago, was waking up, and it terrified him. 4 years ago, he had loved her. Amara. She was 22 when they met. Beautiful. Warm. Everything his world wasn't. She worked at a charity gala his family sponsored. She didn't know who he was. Didn't care. She looked at him like he was just a man, not a weapon his father had sharpened for war. He married her 6 months later. His father hated it. Called her a distraction. A weakness. But Jae-hyun didn't care. For the first time in his life, he felt something other than cold. Then came the doctor's appointment. The words that ended everything. I'm sorry, Mr. Kwon. The damage is permanent. You cannot father children. Jae-hyun had sat in that sterile white room, staring at test results he didn't understand, feeling something inside him break. Not sadness, not grief, just nothing. He went home that night and told Amara. She cried, held him, whispered that it didn't matter, that she loved him, not the idea of children. He believed her. For 3 months he believed her. Then she came to him, trembling, holding a pregnancy test. Jae-hyun, I'm pregnant. He stared at her, at the test, at the impossible. No. I know what the doctor said, but... No. Her face crumpled. Please, just listen. Whose is it? The words left his mouth like bullets. She flinched. What? Whose child is it? Yours! Jae-hyun, it's yours! I'm sterile, Amara. But miracles happen. Not to me. He saw it then. The lie, the betrayal. She was pregnant and it wasn't his. Couldn't be his. The doctor had been certain, irreversible, permanent. She was a liar, a cheater. Everything beautiful about her turned to ash in his mind. Get out. Jae-hyun, get out. He didn't hit her. He didn't have to. His voice was a blade. His silence was a grave. She left that night, crying, begging, swearing she hadn't touched another man. He didn't care. He burned every photo, every gift, every trace of her. And he never looked back, until today. Until two boys with his face ran laughing through the rain. Amara Clark didn't believe in fate. She believed in survival. 4 years ago, she had been thrown into the street like trash, pregnant, penniless, heartbroken. The man she loved, the man she thought loved her, had called her a whore and slammed the door in her face. She had nowhere to go. No family, no money, no proof that the children growing inside her belonged to the man who had destroyed her. But she didn't die. She worked 3 jobs while pregnant. Cleaned offices at night. Waitressed during the day. Sold handmade jewelry online. She saved every cent. Found a tiny apartment in the part of the city where no one asked questions. And when her sons were born, 2 perfect, identical boys, she named them after hope. Elijah, Isaiah, her miracles. They had his eyes, his smile, his sharp, stubborn chin. Every time she looked at them, she saw the man who had broken her heart. But she also saw her reason to keep breathing. She taught them to be kind, to laugh, to believe the world could be good, even when it wasn't. She never told them about their father. What would she say? Your father is a monster who didn't believe you existed. No, she would protect them from that truth for as long as she could. Today was supposed to be normal. Drop the boys at her neighbor's apartment. Head to her shift at the cafe. Come home, make dinner, read bedtime stories, normal, safe. But Elijah had been restless all morning. He wanted to play outside, wanted to run in the rain. Mama, please. Isaiah had joined in, both of them looking at her with those eyes that made her heart hurt. Fine. 10 minutes. She watched them from the doorway, smiling despite the exhaustion that lived in her bones. They were everything. Her whole world. Then she saw the car. Black. Sleek. Expensive. It didn't belong in this neighborhood. The window rolled down, and she saw him. Kwon Jae-hyun. The man who had destroyed her. The man she had spent 4 years trying to forget. He was staring at her sons. Amara's blood turned to ice. No! No, no, no! She ran. Elijah! Isaiah! Inside! Now! They turned, confused. But Mama! Now! Her voice was sharp enough to cut. They obeyed, running to her. She grabbed their hands, pulled them inside, slammed the door. Her heart was a drum. Her hands were shaking. He saw them. He saw them. Jae-hyun sat frozen in the backseat of his car, staring at the door she had just disappeared through. Amara. 4 years. 4 years, and she looked different. Thinner. Harder. Her hair was shorter. Her eyes were tired. But she was alive. And those boys? Sir. His driver's voice was cautious. Should I? Wait here. Jae-hyun stepped out of the car. The rain soaked through his suit instantly, but he didn't care. He walked to the door, raised his hand, knocked. Silence. He knocked again. Amara. Nothing. I know you're in there. The door cracked open, just an inch. Her face appeared in the gap, and the look she gave him could have killed. Go away. Those boys are none of your business. They look like me. They look like a lot of people. Amara. You threw me out, Jae-hyun. You called me a liar. You said I betrayed you. You want to do that again? Fine. But you will not touch my sons. Her sons. Not his. Hers. Something twisted in his chest. The doctor said. The doctor was wrong. 4 words. They hit him like a bullet. What? You heard me. Her voice was shaking now. Rage. Pain. 4 years of it. The doctor was wrong. These boys are yours. They have always been yours. But you didn't believe me. You didn't even try. You chose your pride over me, over them. So no, you don't get to stand here now and pretend you care. The door slammed shut. Jae-hyun stood in the rain, staring at the closed door, feeling something inside him crack open. The doctor was wrong. His sons. His sons. He had thrown her out, called her a liar, destroyed her. And she had been telling the truth the entire time. Jae-hyun didn't leave. He stood outside her door for 20 minutes, rain pouring over him like penance. His driver asked twice if he wanted to go. He didn't answer. He couldn't move. Inside that apartment were two boys. His boys. Sons he had denied. Sons he had abandoned before they were even born. And the woman he had loved. The woman he had destroyed. Finally, the door opened again. Amara stood there, arms crossed, eyes like fire. You're going to catch pneumonia. I don't care. You should. You have an empire to run, don't you? People to terrify, lives to ruin. Her words were daggers. He deserved everyone. I need to know, he said quietly. Are they mine? She laughed. It was a bitter, broken sound. You need proof? After everything? Fine. I'll get you a DNA test. But you already know the answer, Jae-hyun. You saw their faces. You saw your own eyes staring back at you. He swallowed. Why didn't you come back? Why didn't you fight? Fight? Her voice rose. Fight for what? You had already decided I was guilty. You didn't ask questions. You didn't listen. You just erased me. Like I was nothing. Like we were nothing. You thought I betrayed you. Because a doctor told you that you couldn't have children, and you believed that more than you believed me. She stepped closer, and he saw the tears in her eyes. I loved you, Jae-hyun. I loved you so much it nearly killed me when you threw me away. But I survived. I built a life. I gave our sons everything I could. And now you show up 4 years later because you happened to see them playing in the rain? I didn't know. You didn't want to know. Silence. The rain hammered the pavement between them. I was wrong, he said finally. She stared at him. I was wrong, Amara. I should have listened. I should have believed you. I should have... His voice cracked. I should have fought for you. But you didn't. No, I didn't. She wiped her eyes. Why are you here, Jae-hyun? What do you want? I want to meet them. No. Amara. No. You don't get to walk into their lives and break their hearts the way you broke mine. They don't know you. They don't need you. We're fine without you. They're my sons. They're my sons. You gave up that right the day you called me a liar. He stepped closer. She didn't back away. I can't undo what I did, he said quietly. But I can try to make it right. How? By throwing money at us? By offering us a place in your world? We don't want your world, Jae-hyun. It's cold. It's cruel. It's exactly what I've spent 4 years protecting them from. I know. He looked down at his hands. Hands that had built an empire. Hands that had never held his own children. I know what I am. What my world is. But they're my blood, Amma. And I need to know them. Even if they hate me. Even if you hate me. I need to try. She studied him for a long moment. Then she shook her head. You want to try? Fine. But on my terms. You don't tell them who you are. Not yet. You don't show up in some expensive car and scare them. You come here. You sit at our table. You eat our food. You be normal. If you can manage that, if you can prove that you're more than just the man who destroyed me, then maybe. Maybe I'll let you into their lives. I'll do it. Every Sunday, 1 hour. That's all you get. I'll take it. She turned to go back inside, then stopped. Jae-hyun? Yes? If you hurt them, if you make them feel even a fraction of what you made me feel, I will make sure you regret it for the rest of your life. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you can do. You will not break my sons. He nodded. I understand. She closed the door. Jae-hyun stood there, soaked to the bone, feeling something he hadn't felt in years. Hope and terror. Because for the first time in his life, Kwon Jae-hyun had something to lose. Sunday came too slowly and too fast. Jae-hyun had faced armed enemies, hostile takeovers, men who wanted him dead. He'd walked into rooms knowing he might not walk out alive. But standing outside Amara's door with a bag of groceries felt like stepping onto a battlefield he didn't know how to fight on. He knocked. Softly. The door opened. Amara stood there. And for a moment, neither of them spoke. She looked tired. Beautiful. Guarded. You came. I said I would. She studied him. The expensive suit was gone. He wore jeans, a simple black shirt. He looked almost normal, almost human. They don't know, she said quietly. I told them a friend of mine is coming for lunch. That's all you are right now, a friend, understand? I understand. She stepped aside. The apartment was small. Too small. The furniture was old but clean. The walls were covered in children's drawings, crayon suns, stick figure families, a life built from nothing. Jae-hyun's chest tightened. This is what she'd survived on. This is what he'd condemned her to. Elijah! Isaiah! Come say hello! The sound of small feet running. Then they appeared, his sons. Up close, they were even more impossible to deny. Dark eyes, sharp features. The way they stood, one slightly in front of the other, protective, it was something Jae-hyun recognized in himself. Boys, this is Mr. Kwon. He's an old friend. Elijah, the bolder of the two, stepped forward first. Hi. Jae-hyun's throat closed. He knelt down, bringing himself to their eye level. Hi. Isaiah hid slightly behind his brother, watching with curious eyes. Do you like dinosaurs? Elijah asked suddenly. Jae-hyun blinked. Yes, I do. Me too. Mama says T-Rex was the strongest, but I think Spinosaurus was stronger because it could swim and fight on land. A smile tugged at Jae-hyun's lips, his first real smile in years. That's smart thinking. Elijah beamed. Amara watched from the doorway, arms crossed, her expression unreadable. She'd expected him to be awkward, distant, cold. She hadn't expected him to look at their sons like they were the only thing in the world that mattered. Lunch was simple. Pasta, salad, bread Amara had baked herself. Jae-hyun ate slowly, listening to the boys chatter about school, about their favorite cartoons, about the stray cat that lived in the alley behind their building. Normal things, small things, things he'd never thought about before. Mr. Kwon, do you have kids? Isaiah asked suddenly, his voice soft. The table went silent. Jae-hyun's eyes flicked to Amara. She was watching him, her jaw tight. No, he said carefully. I don't. Why not? Isaiah, Amara warned gently. It's okay, Jae-hyun said. He looked at the boy, his boy, and felt something break inside him. I guess I just never had the chance. Elijah frowned. That's sad. Kids are fun. Yeah, Jae-hyun whispered. They are. After lunch, the boys went to their room to play. Amara started washing dishes. Jae-hyun stood, picked up a towel, and began drying. She glanced at him, surprised. You don't have to. I want to. They worked in silence for a moment. The sound of the boys' laughter drifted from the other room. They're amazing, Jae-hyun said quietly. I know. You did this alone. I had no choice. He set down a plate, turned to face her. I'm sorry, Amara. I know it doesn't change anything. I know it doesn't erase what I did. But I need you to know I'm sorry. She stopped washing. Her hands trembled in the soapy water. You destroyed me, Jae-hyun. You took everything I had and threw it away like it meant nothing. Like I meant nothing. I know. Do you? She turned to him, tears streaming down her face. Do you know what it's like to be pregnant and homeless? To sleep on benches because you have nowhere else to go? To wonder if your babies are going to survive because you can't afford to eat? His jaw clenched. I survived because I had to, because they needed me. But there were nights, so many nights, where I wanted to give up, where I didn't think I could keep going. Amara, but I did. I kept going. I built this life. And now you show up, and you're sorry, and you want to be part of their lives, and I don't know if I can forgive you. I don't know if I should. Jae-hyun reached out slowly, carefully, and took her hand. She didn't pull away. I don't deserve forgiveness, he said. I know that. But I'm not asking for me. I'm asking for them. Let me try to be the father they deserve, even if you hate me, even if I have to spend the rest of my life proving I'm worthy. Let me try. She looked down at their joined hands. His were rough, scarred, hands that had built an empire on cruelty. But they were shaking. 1 hour, she whispered. Every Sunday. 1 hour. If you miss a single week, if you hurt them even once, you're done. You don't get a second chance. I won't miss a week. We'll see. She pulled her hand away and went back to the dishes. But she didn't tell him to leave. When Jae-hyun finally left that evening, the boys waved goodbye from the window. He waved back, something warm and terrifying spreading through his chest. His driver opened the car door. "Home, sir?" Jae-hyun paused, looked back at the small apartment building, at the window where his sons' faces were pressed against the glass. "No," he said quietly. "Take me to Dr. Han." The driver's eyes widened. "Sir?" "The doctor who told me I was sterile. I want to see him. Now." Dr. Han's office was in the expensive part of the city. Sterile. Cold. Everything about it felt like a lie now. Jae-hyun didn't wait for an appointment. He walked past the receptionist, ignored her protests, and pushed open the doctor's door. Dr. Han looked up, startled. "Mr. Kwon, you told me I was sterile." The doctor paled. Yes. The tests showed... The tests were wrong." Silence. That's not possible. The damage from your childhood illness? "I have 2 sons." Jae-hyun's voice was quiet, deadly. 4 years old, my blood, my DNA. So either you lied to me or you're incompetent. Which is it? Dr. Han stood, hands raised. "Mr. Kwon, please, let me review your file. There must have been a mistake? A misdiagnosis?" Jae-hyun stepped closer. "Because of your mistake, I destroyed the woman I loved. I threw away my own children before they were even born. I spent 4 years believing I was broken. I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't fix this. I'll run new tests. I'll find out what happened. I already know what happened. You were wrong. And because of you, I lost everything." Jae-hyun turned to leave, then stopped. "Stay away from my family. If I ever see you again, I won't be this kind." He walked out, leaving the doctor trembling in his wake. That night, Jae-hyun sat alone in his penthouse. The city stretched out below him, glittering and cold. He picked up his phone, stared at Amara's number. He'd saved it. After all these years, he'd never deleted it. He typed a message. "Thank you for today. For giving me a chance I don't deserve. I won't waste it." He hesitated, then added, "I'm sorry. For everything." He hit send. 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then reappeared. Finally, a response. "Don't thank me yet. Prove it." Jae-hyun stared at the message, and for the first time in 4 years, he smiled. He would prove it, even if it took the rest of his life. The Sundays became sacred. Week after week, Jae-hyun showed up. Same time. Same quiet presence. He brought groceries, fixed the broken cabinet in the kitchen, sat on the floor and built Lego castles with Elijah and Isaiah while Amara watched from the doorway, her heart a war between fury and something dangerously close to hope. The boys loved him. That was the problem. "Mr. Kwon, can you come to my school play?" Elijah asked one Sunday, eyes bright with excitement. Jae-hyun glanced at Amara. She was staring at him, her expression a warning. I'd have to check my schedule." "Please? I'm a tree. It's a really important tree." Isaiah giggled. "You just stand there." "But I'm the best tree." Jae-hyun's lips twitched. "Then I'll try my best to be there." "Promise?" He looked at Amara again. She gave the smallest nod. "Promise." When the boys ran off to play, Amara sat down across from him. "You can't promise them things, Jae-hyun." "Why not?" "Because your world doesn't allow for school plays and Lego castles. You have enemies, rivals, people who would use them against you the second they found out these boys exist." He'd thought about that. Every night, every moment he wasn't here. "I know. So what's your plan? Keep living this double life? Pretend you're just Mr. Kwon, family friend forever?" "I don't know. That's not good enough." He leaned forward. "What do you want me to say, Amara? That I'll walk away? That I'll pretend they don't exist? I can't. I've tried. I can't stop thinking about them, about you, about the life I destroyed." "You can't have both," she said quietly. "You can't be the crime lord and the father. You can't build empires on blood and then come here and play house. Eventually, you'll have to choose." "What if I choose them?" She froze. "What? What if I choose them? You. This. What if I walk away from everything else?" You can't. Why not? Because that world doesn't let people walk away, Jae-hyun. You know that. Your father would never allow it. Your enemies would see it as weakness. You'd be putting a target on all of us. Then I'll protect you. Like you protected me 4 years ago? The words hit him like a fist. She stood up, wrapping her arms around herself. I want to believe you've changed. I see you with them, and I see someone different, someone softer. But I also know who you are, what you're capable of. And I'm terrified that one day you'll have to choose between them and your empire, and you'll choose wrong. I won't. You already did once. Silence. She was right. He'd already made that choice. 4 years ago, he'd chosen pride over love, power over family, and it had cost him everything. 2 weeks later, Jae-hyun kept his promise. He showed up at the boys' school, dressed down, wearing a baseball cap to avoid recognition. He sat in the back row of the auditorium, surrounded by other parents, and watched his son stand perfectly still as a tree while other kids sang about forests and friendship. It was ridiculous. It was perfect. It was... When the play ended, Elijah ran off stage and straight into Amara's arms. Then he saw Jae-hyun and his whole face lit up. You came. You really came. I promised, didn't I? Elijah threw his arms around Jae-hyun's legs. The impact was small, gentle. It shattered him completely. He knelt down, hugged his son, really hugged him, and felt something inside him shift. This was what mattered. Not power, not fear, not the empire his father had built on bones and silence. This. Isaiah joined the hug, and suddenly Jae-hyun was surrounded by his boys, and he couldn't breathe, couldn't think, could only feel the weight of what he'd almost lost forever. Amara watched, her eyes glistening with tears she refused to let fall. He looked up at her over the boys' heads. I'm sorry, his eyes said. I know, hers answered. But the peace didn't last. It never did. That night, Jae-hyun's phone rang. His second in command. His voice was tight. We have a problem. Jae-hyun stepped out onto the balcony of Amara's building, where he'd been helping put the boys to bed. What kind of problem? Someone's been asking questions about you. About where you've been every Sunday. Ice flooded Jae-hyun's veins. Who? We don't know yet, but they're getting close. Jae-hyun closed his eyes. He'd been careless. Too focused on Amara and the boys. He'd let his guard down. Handle it. Sir, if they find out about the woman and the kids, I said handle it. He hung up. When he went back inside, Amara was waiting in the hallway. She'd heard enough. They know, don't they? Not yet. But they will. He didn't answer. She laughed bitterly. I told you this would happen. You can't have both worlds, Jae-hyun. I'll protect you. How? By putting armed men outside our door? By moving us into some fortress where the boys can't play outside? That's not a life. That's a prison. It's temporary. It's who you are. Her voice broke. You're the heir to a criminal empire. People fear you. People want you dead. And now you've painted a target on my sons because you couldn't stay away. I won't let anything happen to them. You can't promise that. She was right. He couldn't. Then what do you want me to do? His voice was raw. Tell me. I'll do anything. She looked at him with eyes full of tears and something that looked like goodbye. I want you to choose Jae-hyun, once and for all, them or your empire. You can't have both. And if you try, you'll lose us all. Jae-hyun didn't sleep that night. He sat in his penthouse, staring at the city sprawled below, like a kingdom he no longer wanted. Every light represented someone in his world, his empire, his legacy, the weight of his father's expectations pressing down like iron chains. And yet none of it mattered. Not compared to two boys who called him Mr. Kwon and looked at him like he was just a regular person. Not compared to the woman he'd destroyed and somehow been given an impossible second chance with. His phone buzzed. His father. We need to talk. Tomorrow. 9 a.m. Don't be late. Jae-hyun stared at the message, his jaw tight. He knew what was coming. His father had eyes everywhere. If someone was asking questions about Amara and the boys, his father already knew. And Kwon Tae-jin didn't tolerate distractions. didn't tolerate weakness, didn't tolerate love. Jae-hyun had been raised to believe that family was power, but love was suicide. For 32 years, he'd lived by that rule. Now he knew it was a lie that had cost him everything that mattered. He typed a response. "I'll be there." Then he made another call. "Get me everything on the Riverton account. Liquidate the offshore holdings. Transfer them to a secure account under a different name. I want it done by morning." "Sir? That's nearly half your personal fortune." "I know what it is." "Do it." He was preparing for war, for exile, for whatever came next. Because tomorrow, he was going to do something no one had ever done in his family. He was going to walk away. The next morning, Jae-hyun walked into his father's office like a man walking to his own execution. Kwon Tae-jin sat behind his massive mahogany desk, a king surveying his kingdom. At 70, he was still formidable. Silver hair, cold eyes, a presence that made grown men stammer. "Sit." Jae-hyun remained standing, his father's eyes narrowed. "I said sit. I'd rather stand." Silence. Heavy. Dangerous. "You've been distracted," his father said finally. "Disappearing every Sunday, missing meetings, making mistakes." "I haven't made any mistakes." "No?" His father leaned back. "Then explain the rumors. About a woman. About children." Jae-hyun's face remained expressionless. "What rumors?" "Don't play games with me, boy. I know about the woman from 4 years ago, the one you threw out, and I know you've been visiting her, along with 2 children who apparently look remarkably like you. They're my sons." The words landed like stones in water. His father's expression didn't change. "Impossible. You're sterile." The doctor was wrong. For the first time, something flickered across his father's face. Surprise? Then calculation. "So she was telling the truth, and you destroyed her anyway." "Yes." "Then you're a fool. But that can be corrected. We'll bring the children into the family. Legitimate heirs are valuable. As for the woman, I'm going to marry her." The temperature in the room dropped. His father stood slowly. "What did you just say?" "I'm going to marry her, bring her and my sons into this family. Protect them. Give them the life they deserve." "You will do no such thing. I'm not asking for permission. You're my heir, Jae-hyun. You don't marry for love. You marry for power, for alliances, for strategic advantage. That woman is nobody. She has no family, no connections, no value to this organization. She gave me sons. Bastards born in poverty to a woman you discarded? Watch your mouth." Jae-hyun's voice was quiet, deadly. "Those are my children you're talking about, and I will not allow anyone, not even you, to disrespect them or their mother." His father's eyes flashed. "You dare give me orders? I'm telling you how this is going to be. I'm going to marry Amara. I'm going to claim my sons publicly. And I'm going to give them a life outside of this world." "Outside?" His father laughed. It was a harsh, bitter sound. "There is no outside, Jae-hyun. You were born into this. You'll die in this. You don't get to walk away because you suddenly developed a conscience. Watch me. If you do this, if you choose her over your responsibilities, you'll have nothing. No protection, no resources, no family. Your enemies will see it as weakness. They'll come for you, for her, for those children. Let them try. You're willing to risk their lives for this fantasy? I'm willing to build a new life. One where my sons don't have to grow up learning how to hurt people. One where they can be children instead of weapons." His father stepped around the desk. For a moment, Jae-hyun thought he might actually strike him. "I made you," his father said, his voice low and venomous. "Everything you are, everything you have, I gave you. I taught you how to survive in this world, how to command respect, how to be strong." "No." Jae-hyun met his father's eyes without flinching. "You taught me how to be cruel, how to be feared, how to be empty. But you never taught me how to be happy, how to love, how to be a father. Because those things make you weak. They make you human." Jae-hyun's voice was steady, calm. "And I'm done pretending to be the monster you wanted me to be. I'm done building empires on fear and blood. I'm done sacrificing everything good in my life for power I don't even want. His father's jaw clenched. So you'll throw away your legacy, your birthright, everything I built for you. You built it for yourself. I'm building something different, something that actually matters. And what's that? A family, a real one. Not this. Jae-hyun gestured around the office. Not an organization built on violence and intimidation, but something real, something worth protecting. His father moved toward the drawer where Jae-hyun knew he kept a weapon. Old instincts, old threats. Don't, Jae-hyun warned quietly. You're choosing them over your blood, over your name, over everything. They are my blood, my sons, my family, and if you make me choose between them and this empire, I choose them. Every single time, without hesitation. His father's hand trembled with rage. Then you're no son of mine. The words should have hurt, should have cut deep. They didn't. Good, Jae-hyun said simply. Because I don't want to be the son you made me. I want to be the father they deserve. He turned toward the door. Walk out that door and you're dead to me, to this family, to everyone in this organization. Jae-hyun paused, looked back over his shoulder. I was already dead, father. For 4 years I was empty, hollow, going through the motions of a life that meant nothing. But now, he smiled, a real smile. Now I'm finally alive. He walked out. Behind him, his father roared. Threats, curses, promises of consequences. But Jae-hyun didn't stop. Didn't hesitate. Didn't look back. For the first time in his entire life, he felt free. He drove straight to Amara's apartment, his heart pounding. She opened the door, took one look at his face, and knew. What did you do? I chose. Her breath caught. Jae-hyun, I chose you. I chose them. I walked away from my father, from the organization, from all of it. No, you can't just... I already did. He stepped inside, closed the door behind him. I liquidated half my personal assets last night. Put them in accounts your father can't touch. I have enough to keep us safe, comfortable, protected for the rest of our lives. Protected? Jae-hyun, you just made yourself a target. I was always a target. The difference is now I have something worth fighting for. She pressed her hands to her face, overwhelmed. Your father will never let this go. Your enemies will see this as weakness. They'll come after you, after us, after the boys. Let them. His voice was steel. I still have allies. People loyal to me, not the organization. I have resources, connections, skills they don't know about. I can protect you. I can protect our sons. But I need you to trust me. Trust you? Her voice broke. You're asking me to trust you with their lives, Jae-hyun, with everything. I know. The last time I trusted you, you destroyed me. I know. He took her hands. And I will spend the rest of my life trying to make that right. But I'm not that man anymore, Amara. That man was scared, broken, controlled by his father's expectations. But this version of me, I know what matters. And it's not power. It's not an empire. It's you. It's them. It's the life we could build together. Tears streamed down her face. You're insane. Probably. This could get us all killed. I won't let that happen. You can't promise that. Yes, I can. He pulled her close. Because I'm not fighting for an empire anymore. I'm fighting for my family, and there's nothing more dangerous than a man protecting the people he loves. She looked up at him, searching his eyes for doubt, for hesitation, for any sign that this was another mistake. She found none. If we do this, she whispered, you need to tell them the truth. All of it. They deserve to know who you really are, what you were, what you're trying to become. I know. And if your world catches up with us, it won't. But if it does, then we face it together, as a family, not as strangers, not as people hiding from each other, but as a family. She pressed her forehead to his chest, feeling his heartbeat, steady and strong. I'm terrified, she admitted. So am I. But you still did it. Because the alternative was losing you, losing them. And I already did that once. I won't do it again. She pulled back, looked at him through her tears, and saw something she'd thought was gone forever. Hope. Okay, she whispered. Okay, but you tell them. Today. No more secrets. Today, he agreed. That afternoon, Jae-hyun sat down with Elijah and Isaiah in their small living room. Amara was beside him, her hand in his, lending him strength. The boys sensed something was different. They sat quietly, unusually still. Boys, Jae-hyun began, his voice gentle. I need to tell you something important. Something I should have told you from the beginning. Elijah leaned forward. Are you in trouble, Mr. Kwan? The innocence in that question nearly broke him. No, buddy, but I need to be honest with you. About who I am. He took a breath. You know how you asked if I have kids? Both boys nodded. The truth is, I do. I have 2 sons. 2 incredible, smart, funny, brave boys who mean more to me than anything in the world. Isaiah frowned, confused. Where are they? Jae-hyun's throat tightened. He looked at Amara. She squeezed his hand. Right here, he said softly. You and your brother, you're my sons. Silence. Complete, absolute silence. Elijah blinked. You're our dad? Yes. But Mama said our dad wasn't around. She said that to protect you. Because I made a terrible mistake 4 years ago. When your mama told me she was pregnant with you, I didn't believe her. I thought it was impossible. And instead of trusting her, instead of believing in her, I hurt her. I said awful things. I made her leave. Isaiah's eyes filled with tears. You didn't want us? The words shattered Jae-hyun completely. He knelt down in front of them, bringing himself to their level. No, sweetheart. I wanted you so much. But I was scared. And I was stupid. And I let my fear turn into anger. And I hurt the person I loved most in the world. I wasn't there when you were born. I wasn't there for your first steps, your first words, your first anything. And I will regret that for the rest of my life. Why didn't you come back? Elijah asked, his voice small. Because I didn't know you existed. I thought your mama had lied to me. It took me 4 years to learn the truth. 4 years to realize I'd thrown away the most important thing in my life. Us? Isaiah whispered. You, your brother, your mama, my whole family. Elijah's lip trembled. Are you going to leave again? Never. I promise you. I will never leave you again. But you left before? I did, and I was wrong. So wrong. How do we know you won't do it again? It was a fair question, a heartbreaking question. Jae-hyun reached into his pocket and pulled out 2 small boxes. He opened them. Inside each was a simple silver bracelet engraved with their names. These belong to my grandfather, he said quietly. They're the only thing I have from him that my father didn't destroy. He was a good man, better than I've been. He believed that family was everything. Not power, not fear, but love. He slipped one bracelet onto Elijah's wrist, then one onto Isaiah's. I'm giving these to you as a promise that I will never leave you again, that I will protect you, love you, and be the father you deserve, even if it takes me the rest of my life to prove it. The boys looked at their bracelets, then at each other. Then Elijah spoke. Can we call you Dad? Jae-hyun's vision blurred with tears. I would love that more than anything in the world. Slowly, hesitantly, Elijah climbed into his lap. Isaiah followed, and for the first time, Jae-hyun held his sons, really held them, as their father. They cried together. All 4 of them. Years of pain and loss and missed moments pouring out in that small living room, but underneath the grief was something else. Healing, hope. A family finally whole. 6 months later. Jae-hyun stood in the kitchen of their new home, a house far from the city, surrounded by trees and space and safety, flipping pancakes while Amara laughed at his technique. You're supposed to flip them, not launch them. I'm creating art. You're creating a mess. Same thing. She hip-checked him away from the stove, took over, and he wrapped his arms around her waist from behind, resting his chin on her shoulder. Happy? He murmured. Terrifyingly so. Terrifying? Because I keep waiting for something to go wrong, for your old life to come crashing back. It won't. How can you be sure? Because I burned every bridge, Cut every tie. I'm not the crime lord anymore, Amara. I'm just a man who's really bad at making pancakes. She turned in his arms, looked up at him. Any regrets? He thought about it, about the empire he'd walked away from, the power he'd abandoned, the legacy he'd rejected. Not one. Not even a little? Not even a little. I spent 32 years building an empire of fear, but it was empty, hollow. I had everything and nothing at the same time. He tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. Now I have you. I have them. I have a life worth living instead of just surviving. How could I regret that? She smiled. You've gotten soft. Good. Soft is better. Dad! Elijah's voice rang out from the backyard. Come play soccer with us. Dad still stopped his heart every time. Coming! He called back. He kissed Amara, slow and deep and full of promise, then headed outside. His sons were running through the grass, kicking a ball back and forth, their laughter bright as sunlight. This was his empire now, not built on blood or fear or violence, but on love, on second chances, on choosing what mattered over what was easy. He joined them, scooped Isaiah up, spun Elijah around until they both shrieked with joy. And Kwon Jae-hyun, former heir to a criminal empire, once the most feared man in the city, realized something. He hadn't lost power by walking away. He'd found it. Real power wasn't making people fear you. It was making them love you. It was being someone worth coming home to. It was building something that couldn't be bought or taken or destroyed. A family. A real one. And as the sun set over their new home, painting the sky in gold and pink, Jae-hyun held his sons close and knew with absolute certainty